And I am Robert M. Price.
I'm Dr. Darrell Ray.
Hi, I'm Karen Lumley-Kerr.
Hi, I'm Aaron Roy.
Hi, I'm Marissa Alexa McCool.
Hi, I'm Jerry DeWitt.
Hi, this is David Smalley from Dogma Debate.
Hi, this is Dan Barker.
Hi, I'm John McComb from The John McComb Show.
Hi, I'm Dr. Drance.
Hi, I'm Richard Carrier.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Tyson.
Hi, I'm Seth Andrews. I'm host of The Thinking Atheist.
Hey guys, I'm Kara Santa Maria.
Hi, I'm David Fitzgerald.
Hi, I'm Brian Keith Dalton.
Hi, this is Tom and Cecil from Cognitive Dissonance, and we took a left to the valley.
We did take a left to the valley.
And a wrong turn in Albuquerque.
And then the left at the valley goes right to a glory hole. It's like right to a glory hole.
I know we shouldn't have to scream that we're atheists. You know, we don't have non-astrologers and all that. But with the religious people taking over the world, I mean, we can either speak up or be pushed into a corner.
I'm proud to be an atheist, a skeptic, a non-believer, an infidel, a heathen. I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance and you just call it faith and unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist.
Coming at you from Bible Belt, BC, this is Left of the Valley. My name is Kevin, and my girlfriend told me she wishes I'd give her more adult compliments, so I told her I admired her cholesterol levels. Joining me as usual is the team that wonders, if we're all here to help others, what are the others here for? She knows that if women ran the world, there'd be no wars, just intense negotiations every 28 days. Nancy.
Uh-oh.
You didn't go there.
Oh, but he did.
Bad way to start the game.
Let's just ignore that.
And he thinks everything is funny as long as it happens to someone else. Scott.
Yes, that's completely right.
And she can resist everything except temptation. Kirsten.
Yep. That's how it works.
Guys, welcome back.
I have to say, just because I'm going to say it, I never get tired of our opening. I just love it. I just,
you mean the
montage of everybody. It's so funny. It makes it. I hope the audience likes it as much as we do. But it just reminds us of all of the good shows that we did, all the wonderful conversations, all the people out there who are so willing, to share their books, their experiences, their point of view.
Great. For a little show, a little podcast, we've had a lot of great guests.
Yeah, we really have.
I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah. And that opening just puts you in a good mood just to start the show.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. We'll try it anyway. Anyway, guys, welcome back. So today we'll be talking to our old friend David Fitzgerald.
Oh,
we'll be talking about his latest book. Actually, it's kind of funny because it's not a book that, he's written books like the myths about Jesus and Jesus Myth International and all that, but this book actually is nothing like that. It's actually a science fiction book. So we'll be talking about that.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we always look forward to David coming on, so it'll be a great conversation.
He's a great guest.
Yeah,
I feel like we look forward to every guest.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
Actually,
that's why we invite them on.
That's right.
I can think of only maybe one or two guests that actually I did not enjoy having on the show, but I'm not going to mention them. But first...
Yeah, I'm thinking 98% of them, I just didn't care.
But first, let's do a bit of chit-chat. This is from the Raw story. Did you guys hear that Illinois' 3rd District has apparently a Holocaust denier, white supremacist, anti-Semite, and former leader of the American Nazi Party running for the GOP?
Yeah, all-round good guy.
Oh, yeah.
So Illinois has a 3rd district?
In the U.S., they all divide
not only that,
industry.
He's running unopposed.
I was about to say that. That's the worst part.
Sorry,
he's unopposed at this point.
Yeah.
And this is apparently the 8th time he's running. He said one time, quote, "The Holocaust is a conspiracy pushed by some survivors of the camps." So he said the Holocaust never happened. I mean, there were concentration camps, and these survivors apparently concocted this whole Holocaust thing of all these people.
So the soldiers digging up all the bodies?
No, that's all conspiracy.
That's all conspiracy.
That's all conspiracy.
No, boy, if ever there was a district that was made for one of the resistance people to step up and run, that's it.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's running unopposed is what disturbs me here.
But he's
there's always a
unopposed-
crank. There's always a crank in there. I mean, the fact
Yeah.
that it's the 8th time running, this guy's a crank, obviously. But the fact that he's running unopposed and actually has a chance of getting in there is the problem.
You know, I didn't look to see what district, what cities. So that's why I read it, but then I don't
I have
know
no idea
whether
what
it's
the
a
3rd district is,
conservative district or whatever. But we really need somebody between 18 and 22 to step up. I say we that.
Somebody with
Third
brains
district
needs to
needs
set
somebody
up.
from about 18 to 22 to step up and just capture the hearts
Yeah.
and minds of everybody and
If
pound that guy into
if
the
something like
dust.
that was to happen in Abbotsford, let's say, for example, there was some kind of white supremacist moron like that just ran in Abbotsford unopposed, that would be enough for me to go put my name in on the ballot, just to say I had no intentions of running, but because you have to answer to this. You
Just to
have
give some opposition to that.
Absolutely. Even if you lose, you have to answer.
Yeah, I hope there's
The
more
note
news on
factor
that.
is high there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some more news out of that area and see what
It's
happens.
one of those stories we'll have to follow.
Yeah.
So the South Korean Olympics are on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys watch any of it at this point? Or no?
That's boring.
The funny thing is, there were huge protests, apparently. The police clashed with protesters that were protesting North Korea. These protesters apparently burned North Korean flags and pictures of Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, he's pretty much the same. King or Kim,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He thinks he's a king. His sister, Kim Yo-jung, I'm not sure here, the pronunciation, actually was in the audience during the ceremony.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting as well. Here's another interesting story. Asteroid 2018 CB passed Earth around 5:30 Eastern Standard Time on Friday at 64,000 kilometers. That's really close. It's 1/5 the distance to the moon. So apparently it's a small asteroid. It's only about 15 to 30 meters in size. It's similar in size to the one that lit. Remember in 2013, there's one that came over Russia. There's videos all over it. They kind of make this big fireball. It was over the city of, I'm going to massacre this, Chelyabinsk in Russia. In 2013, which the airburst caused by the friction there echoed across the city and it broke windows and injured 1,000 people.
Wow.
That happened in 2013.
That was horrible. But because of all their dash cams there, we were able to see it happen.
Exactly,
yeah.
and that was pretty cool. Yeah, the video comes from a dash cam, exactly. It's a big thing in Russia. Did you guys hear about 2 Canadians being arrested in Cambodia? They were arrested because they were at a party, and they were charged with porn for pictures on social media of sexually suggestive dancing.
Who was it that was arrested?
7 Western
There
women.
were 7 Westerners in total.
Oh, okay.
After the raid, there was a raid in a rented villa. Eden Kozolius, 20, and Jessica Drolet, 25, were the Canadians. And there were pictures that showed a party, drinking, and women in bikinis.
Uh-oh.
And it was enough to arrest them.
Oh, heaven forbid, a woman in a bikini.
I know.
Okay, the thing that has to be remembered here, they were in, Cambodia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is not Canada. It is not the United States, and it is not any of the European countries. This is a foreign country. They have their rules, and they're led by their people. You don't go in there. You better learn your culture before you go in there, or you do risk being arrested for some stupid thing.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You have to know what you're getting into when you're going somewhere.
Yeah, they were released, but I think it was.
I think they're happy to be home. I saw a picture.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they are.
Come home. I'm pretty sure they're happy. Yeah.
Did you guys also hear about this story that Ottawa is doing an overhaul of the fisheries legislation?
We're going to stop them from doing cod.
No, what they're going to do?
No, they did that. That's right.
What they do is in the legislation there is a ban of the capture of cetaceans. So
whales,
in other words. So Bill C-38 does allow to make exception for injured cetaceans. The Vancouver Aquarium is one of these places. There's only 2 in Canada, Marineland and the Vancouver Aquarium. And he said they will not display cetaceans anymore.
That is good, because if you've been to, I've never been to the Vancouver Aquarium.
You've never been, really?
No, I've never been there. But in Niagara Falls, when I was a kid, used to go to Marineland all the time. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool. And then I went back there a few years ago, and I realized how small the facilities at Marineland were, and I thought, those poor whales.
Yeah, it's really
They don't
cool.
have whales there anymore, but when I was a kid, they had orcas performing. And I didn't realize how small their pools were. And it was like, that had to be so cruel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the things that people don't seem to realize. I've always been against the whole idea of holding cetaceans like that. People don't realize that these mammals, we rely on sight as our primary thing. For them, it's echolocation. So even though it looks like a big tank, to them it's the equivalent of us spending all your life in your bathroom.
Yeah. And
I mean, get plenty of space. Technically, you could live in your bathroom for the rest of your life, but it'd be absolutely horrible.
Well, yeah.
It'd be absolutely
horrible existence.
I mean, as a kid, it's super cool because I remember as a kid we went to the aquarium and we actually got to spend the night next to the beluga tank. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Like,
and
awesome experience.
half of these animals are playful by nature and all that.
Oh, they are. They would come up against the glass and everything like that.
Exactly, right? So it's very cool.
But they just don't have the space or anything that they require.
Exactly.
Or the freedom.
Well, yeah, or the freedom.
And when you realize that if you look at a topography map or a picture of the site, you realize you have a very small enclosure where the animal is, and it's miniature compared to the parking spots just outside, which takes out almost an acre, right? if not more. So anyway, so Bill S-203 was actually introduced in 2015, but conservatives actually fought it all the way. So it took a while for it to actually make its way into legislation. So
it's good that the humane part of it is finally going to come to fruition rather than
exactly.
let's just cage these animals up so that people can look at them. Now it's the needs of that particular species and animal.
No, it's good. It's good that they have an exception for if you do find an injured animal, because otherwise if you just release them right away, you just condemn them to death. I'm okay with that.
They can use those facilities that were built like that, like Marineland and the Vancouver Aquarium, can be used to help rehabilitate.
And they have done that in the past.
To get the animal back out to the ocean, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. Although
that's
some of
the
them
end goal,
but
sometimes
Marineland not so much, because that's inland. That's on the Great Lakes. So the poor cetacean would be having a very, very bad trip.
Yeah. And you could tell sometimes. I remember last time I went to the Vancouver Aquarium, and I couldn't help but notice that some of the dolphins, it's almost like they're in the corner and they're not doing anything. They're like facing a wall and they're bobbing up and down.
They want to be left alone.
Need something to do.
Yeah.
They want to be
so
free,
intelligent.
right?
You can't help but think, mentally what's going on in your brain there. That looks like somebody who's depressed.
They're depressed, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. You guys know this guy named Elon Musk?
Oh,
Love
yeah.
him.
Oh, yeah.
Love him to death.
Yeah.
He launched a Tesla
I want to have his
space.
baby.
Using his Falcon Heavy rockets, he actually launched a car into space. And this car was it's on its way to orbit Mars. And this is all true.
It missed Mars.
Is it going to drift?
Apparently, they had some miscalculation. It's going to miss Mars, and now it's going to orbit somewhere between Mars and the asteroid belt.
I know. It's just so fabulous.
And the pictures they sent
back.
They, I don't know if any of you ever watched the movie, what was it? Heavy Metal. It was a cartoon.
Oh, my God,
in the 70s,
yes.
Heavy Metal.
Yep.
Or 80s, early 80s. And it was, there was the first opening scene in Heavy Metal is a guy coming out of a space shuttle, and he's in a sports car. And he's got the space suit on in the sports car, and he lands on the planet with his sports car, right? And takes off down. And all I could think of, and there was other people that I work with, it was the exact same reaction. They said, Heavy Metal, man. That was right out of Heavy Metal.
Yeah, do you think you think that's where Musk got his inspiration to do that?
I think it might have been. He owned the car. It was his car. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
he owns the company. So
no, it was his personal car.
Yeah, it's his car.
That was the first one. That was the one he took for his own personal use. And he decided to put it up there. I think it's so cool. It's like,
funny, but I gotta ask, does it have a dash cam?
It had 6 or 7 cams.
There we go.
It had cams all over the car because they kept flipping between the shots, like from the center. They put the don't panic in the center dash area there, and that was that was in reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But what people didn't know was there was a Hot Wheels version of the Roadster on the dash, and the Hot Wheels version had a mannequin in a spacesuit in the Hot Wheels version. And they had the sticker saying "Don't panic" on the dash of the Hot Wheels car.
I love it.
So apparently the
I hope you have his baby. We need that's so cool. It's just the ultimate cool.
It was the ultimate cool, and he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
He did that on purpose because he said we need to get people interested in this again.
Yes.
And it also did serve a scientific purpose because part of it was the U.S. military was wondering how to utilize that before the third stage. Mm-hmm. I guess it went across so many minutes or so many hours before they ignited the third stage. And part of that was a U.S. military request to find out if it could be done. So he was proving to the military that, yes, we can do this.
It's such as that also. Right? Even though it's a car, what he's actually launched there is cargo, right? And that was the point. See if
it
the
was
rocket
a point
could
of
handle
the cargo, and it got up there. I mean, the pictures, it was in beautiful condition. It suffered no damage from that launch. It was beautiful.
Oh, I mean, just to watch the launch and then to watch with the two stages come back down.
Yeah, it's a shame they lost the third stage.
They lost the third, but the two of them. I mean, it was just fabulous.
So now it's supposed to be on its way around the sun, where it's going to use the sun's gravity to make a loop and then head back towards Mars. Apparently, it should be coming close to Mars by 2020.
I hope that inspires kids to get more interested in science and space exploration.
We totally lost that in the early 80s. And
yeah,
I think we totally need to get that back.
This is sexy stuff. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so good for Elon for doing something like that. And of
he's
course,
awesome.
Right away, you couldn't help but find out that the flat Earth conspiracy theorist said it was all a hoax and never really happened, and it's all done on a stage. Of course it is.
The shame is the other billionaires. Who was it? One of the other billionaires. Was it Branson? Somebody congratulated him right away. Yeah. One of his competitors actually congratulated him.
It probably is Branson,
right
because Branson at some point had he wanted to do Virgin Galactic, right?
Well, he's still running that. And there's like 8 different companies that are vying for positions in this commercial thing, but for Musk to actually pull it off and do it, the other guys are actually looking at him with a thumbs up saying, hey, good job.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's doing it for a price something like 1/10 of what NASA can do it for.
Fantastic. Cool. Excellent. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Nancy, my dear, you ready for your top 10?
Ready for the top 10. So today's top 10 is because of this wonderful holiday that's coming up this next week, Valentine's Day.
Oh, you mean this whole made-up Hallmark thing?
It's a made-up, but it gives me a good excuse to do a top 10. So I always look for the tie-ins. Anyway, so I thought that would be kind of fun. And this is really kind of off center for us, but I wanted to do something entirely different. So today we're going to do the top 10 romantic love songs in honor of Valentine's Day. So when I went looking for the different websites that have the most romantic love songs, all of the websites are different. There's not a whole lot of agreement as to actually what the best love songs are. So I took
So we're doing a top 10 of love songs?
Well, top 10
Only on
love
this
songs.
show would you find such a thing.
Top 10 love songs. Here we go. All right. Number 10 of the top 10 is I Can't Stop Loving You by Ray Charles. Anybody know?
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, I Can't Stop Loving You. That was
you never think of
number
Ray Charles
one
as
for
a romantic
5
guy.
weeks in 1962. Way back. Anyway, number 9. Does anybody remember The Emotions?
Yes.
Okay, they did Best of My Love. Was that a romantic song for anybody?
No, not for me, but yeah, I can see it.
Okay, number 8, there's sort of a tie in this position. It's either Michelle by the Beatles or First Time I Ever Saw Your Face by Roberta Flack. Anybody ever into either of those?
No, it
Well,
doesn't ring a bell either.
Well, we're still at number 8.
The Beatles song, I recognize the Beatles song. I don't recognize the other one, but
yeah. Oh, first time ever I saw Roberta Flack was like the queen of the most romantic songs ever. All the college kids just absolutely
you're gonna have to
went
send
crazy.
me this list later so I can pull some of these songs.
Yeah,
down,
yeah. I'd be glad to. But she had a career just going to the different colleges because she had about 3 or 4 really romantic hits. But this one was the real biggie. Number 7, another tie, "In My Life" by the Beatles. Do you remember that song? And then one of my all-time favorites, "You Are So Beautiful" by Joe Cocker.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah. That one, I melt with that one. I love that one. Number 6.
Chris is going, I have no idea. I'm too young for
Well,
these.
the thing is, I've probably heard some of them. It's just making the connection.
You don't recognize
Joe Cocker died just a couple of years ago.
Yes,
he was
right.
around for a long time, but he just had this rough voice with these beautiful lyrics and just voice and and everything of the combination.
Actually, Nancy, you have to send me this list. I've got a wedding coming up.
Oh, there we go.
Send me this list.
There may be a couple in here. I'll give you the list. Okay. Number 6, you're going to remember this one. I'm surprised it was number 6, but it depends on the list. And that's "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston.
Oh, yes.
That's a great song.
She had such a tremendous, powerful voice, and it's such a shame that she just died the way she did.
That was number 1 for 14 weeks in 1992.
Wow.
And there are still people that just put that on and play it over and over because her voice range, especially at the end of that song, it just sends chills. Yeah, it's a great song. Number 5. "I Just Called to Say I Love You," Stevie Wonder. That was a wonderful song. Well, anything Stevie does, That's right.
Don't torture our audience with your voice there.
Yeah. You want to do a remake, Scott?
I'd love to. Yeah, that's an awesome song.
It is. Okay, number 4, "How Deep Is Your Love" by the Bee Gees.
Oh, wow.
That was number 1 for 3 weeks in 1977. But the Bee Gees, they were fabulous. I think only one of them, I forget which brother is.
There's only one that stayed alive.
But they're marvelous. God. They were just a wonderful group. Yeah, they were great. Number 3, I don't know this one, so maybe this is one that you know, by Rihanna, "We Found Love."
Yeah.
You know that one?
The young one amongst us knows it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's just because I've been in high school most recently.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Number 2, "I'll Be There" by the Jackson 5. That was number 1 for 14 weeks in 1994, so we're going back.
Wow.
Okay, here we go, and let's see if you recognize this song. This is pretty much number 1, number 2, number 3 on almost all the lists. It just kind of depends. So hit it, Maestro. Let's see if you recognize it.
This.
Here we go.
There's only you in my
Of
life.
course.
The only thing that's right.
"Endless Love" by Diana Ross and Lionel Richie.
Exactly.
That was number 1 for 9 weeks, and this really goes back to 1981.
There was another version that was made later on with Mariah Carey and Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it still wasn't as good as this.
No. Okay, so anybody got a favorite love song that wasn't
a favorite love song?
Sure.
Sam Cooke, "What a Wonderful World."
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I'm surprised that didn't make it.
It
Because
depends. Every list. I mean, every list is just very.
Well, there's so many love songs out there.
There are so many, and most of the lists don't even cover the Broadway musicals, like "Some Enchanted Evening" and "Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered," and "If I Loved You" and "Maria" from West Side Story. So
I've got to say, there's one that kind of, for me and Christina, that kind of stands out is because this is one of our favorite movies, is "Tale as Old as Time."
Is what?
What?
"Tale as Old as Time" from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah, that's good. My favorite one never makes any list, and it's "What Are You Doing the Rest of Your Life?"
Oh,
I guess that's a beautiful song. But
who sings that?
Actually, it's been done by a lot of different singers. It's the song itself, but it's a really beautiful. It's in minor key, which is something that's really pleasing for me. So
cool.
Yeah,
and here's
a great song.
Here's a free little tip for you listeners out there about Valentine's Day. Don't go into a mall and buy something to your significant other, like a sweater or something like that. This is just stupid. Don't buy something material. Buy an experience. I think that works way better.
It does.
And one of the things I'd recommend for the guys out there, if you're buying for your lady, or lady buying to your old lady, buy her a star. You could do that. You could go to starregistry.com and you can actually purchase a star and name it, and it will send you back the star. Well, they don't have the star. The star coordinates.
Yeah, it is. I did that years ago.
Yes.
I thought about that
from my husband, and it comes in a beautiful frame. Have you seen?
Oh, I have.
They're gorgeous. They're really well done.
And sometimes they'll send you also. You can have the purchase also come with a rose or two or something like that as well.
I think it's and it's not all that
immortalize
expensive.
her name in the sky.
Yeah,
in a way, right?
It's not all that expensive. I think it was somewhere. I mean, when I did it, it was like $35, and I don't.
No,
think
it's like 75 bucks now. But sometimes you can have a package of a binary star, so you have like two of them, because most of the stars in the skies are actually binary systems.
I think that's one of the most romantic gifts ever.
So
it's just great, and they do record that star in some book. It's registered.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So you'll never actually have the star, but it's something very romantic to do for sure.
It really is. I mean, it's an everlasting, forever, way you say "I love you" to somebody. So it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
A similar route. We went to the planetarium.
Oh, there we go. That works. So that was a free tip from us.
Space guys. Space.
Guys. Yeah, exactly. Think of space. Space is romantic. Okay, so I guess it's time to move on to our other segment that we all love called...
The heck was that?
Another Brilliant Moment. Brought to you by religion.
Right after all the romantic songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about
back into
something completely different.
Now, did you guys know? Well, you guys know that soccer is a very popular sport all over the world, and especially in India. It's very popular in India. But a ban has been imposed against the Islamic women by the prominent fatwa Darul Uloom Deoband in Uttar Pradesh from watching the game of soccer in television as it projects, quote, the bare legs and thighs of players.
Uh-oh.
So women are not allowed to watch the legs of some guys.
Mm.
What are you chewing? I can hear you chew stuff.
My teeth.
Oh, okay. You're chewing your teeth. Which is a shameful act for the community as it stands against the laws and practices of Islam. So, apparently, ladies, I'm sorry, you cannot watch the legs of guys.
Oh, well.
This seems to be drawn from a similar ban imposed in Saudi Arabia in 2015. Quote, the cleric says, do you have no shame? Do you not fear God? You let her watch these kinds of things? He said on the sermon. Why do women need to watch these football matches? What will they gain by looking at footballers' thighs? Their attention will not be on that, will only be on that, and they will not even miss the score.
And why is he worried about it? This guy's really preoccupied with what other people are experiencing in their heads.
He believes that it could be captivating for the women to watch legs of men other than their husbands. That's why.
Ooh, legs.
Oh my!
That's almost like the whole here in schools here. Ooh, shoulders.
Oh my God! I can see your ankle.
Yeah. Well, go back to Victorian times. That was, you couldn't show your ankle.
Yeah. So Islam has listed
that's
various...
the way Islam is now. You can't show ankle.
Right.
You can't
show anything.
Can't even show their face in a lot of places.
That's true.
Islam has listed various sinful actions which are
Shameful
forbidden.
bodies. Shameful.
Yeah.
Just these people are so sick.
Yeah.
When do we get to annihilate these religious nutcases?
Well, eventually all religions die. All gods go to their own grave eventually. By education is the best weapon against all this stuff. So anyway, according to the laws of the community, commonly known as harams, injecting tattoos, slaughtering animals without saying Allah's name, men wearing silk and gold, and furthermore has been forbidden by the saints and the fatwas.
Really?
Yep. That's Islam for you. All right. So, okay.
Well, how in the world can you control people if you don't put prohibitions that that they're afraid of? This is the ultimate control. You can't do this. You can't do that.
It's just
you
so
can't
sad.
do that.
It's like,
that's right.
Why would you want to control people? I don't understand.
Power. It's called power and control. Power.
I guess I'll just never be someone in charge because I don't seek that power.
No.
Nope. Sorry.
But the funny thing is, if you didn't, I'm sure people would follow you a lot better. I feel like if you try
Make a better leader.
constrict people, you're going to have those rebellions pop up.
Well, that's what the guns are for. They buy lots of AK-47s.
Very true. Very true.
All right, here's another story. Now, recently we've all been hit with the flu. Every year, many people die because of the virus, right? But Gloria Copeland, that name should ring a bell to you.
Yes.
Like Kenneth Copeland?
Oh, yeah.
But Gloria Copeland, an evangelical prosperity gospel con artist whose church is based in Texas, told the members of her congregation this week that they don't need to get the shot because Jesus already took the shot for them. The flu shot.
Jesus took the flu shot for them?
Yes.
And she says
What?
this was done how?
Well, I don't know, but when I was in line
she
for that flu
didn't
shot, I thought
explain
the
it.
guy in front of me was just a hippie. Turns out it was Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I would love to stick these people in a cage and say, no, you don't need water. Jesus drank for you.
No.
You don't need food. Jesus ate for you. Oh, you want water. Oh, I see.
Just pray. So she says, quote, "Listen, partners, we don't have a flu season," Copeland declared, and don't receive it. We don't have a flu season, and don't receive it when somebody threatens you with it. When everybody gets the flu, we've already had our shot. He bore our sickness and carried our disease. That's what we stand on. Then she said a prayer for those with the flu and pretended that she has the power to magically cure people afflicted with it. "Flu, I bind you off the people in the name of Jesus," Copeland continued. Jesus himself gave us the flu shot. He redeemed us from the curse of flu, and we receive and take what we are and we are healed.
Somebody give me a brick. I want to bash my brains out.
Scott, if you're going to do that, do it outside. You'll make a mess, and we'll have to clean it up.
I don't care.
She just kept saying, "I'll never have the flu. Inoculate yourself with the word of God." Well, all this time I had no idea.
What is it? When people like this walk in a room, can you actually feel the intelligence lower? Like,
you probably can.
Who would want to walk into the room in the first place? Oh, man.
Yeah, so all this time when I kind of had the sickness in the past couple of weeks and my voice was all different, all I had to do was say, "Jesus, please heal me," and that was it. God, I had no idea.
Why do we have doctors? Why do we have hospitals? We don't need them.
We don't need them because
such a waste.
Jesus.
Such a waste.
Exactly. Why go to school for all these years to become a doctor? So Gloria, apparently, she sounds just like her husband, who apparently once told the military servicemen and women that they can prevent PTSD or cure it by simply converting to Christianity and believing to.
Really?
Yep. Quote, "So this is a promise. If you do this thing and you arm yourself before the Lord for the war, you shall return. You're coming back and be guiltless before the Lord and before the nation. Are you any of you suffering from PTSD right now? You listen to me. You get rid of that right now. You don't take drugs to get rid of it. It doesn't take psychology. That promise right there will get rid of it." That was it. That was her husband, Kenneth Copeland.
So
it's like it's religious snake oil salesman. There's
it's
no
so
difference
sad.
between there's no difference between selling religion that way and having a bottle of
I really love it when they
nothing.
bring soldiers into it and talk about how God is going to take care of them. And so if you had two Christian armies and both of them have. Well, wouldn't that be the immovable object meeting the unstoppable object?
Yeah, probably.
Because both of them have prayed. I'm pretty sure nobody prayed, "Hey, let us lose, God." They all prayed, "Let us win."
Yeah.
They all prayed, "Keep me safe." Well, somebody's got to lose.
Well, the fact that you believe in a God that takes sides in a war to begin with, right there, is a bit of something you should be asking yourself. So it turns out that her anti-flu message comes as Texas was dealing with a flu epidemic that has already claimed the life of 2,300 people this year. Yeah.
In Texas alone?
In Texas alone.
Ouch.
Right?
Wow.
So, I don't know.
So does that put guilt?
That's
If they're selling this idea to people, does that mean that if you get the flu and die, that you didn't have enough faith? Is that throwing that?
Oh yeah, that's
is that another guilt?
You didn't
trip?
believe enough. Yeah,
you didn't
have
believe
enough faith. Yeah, of course. It's their cop out, right? It's their cop out. It's insane. And these kind of messages are just dangerous. They are just plain dangerous.
They are dangerous.
They are dangerous. And the fact that it's sad that in 21st century people are falling for this. I mean,
it's sad that people are actually perpetuating it.
Yeah. Well, there's always going to be people to take advantage of people's gullibility and try to make a buck off it. There's always going to be that.
Okay, so why isn't this a crime? We should. We're in a scientific society now.
Because in the U.S., it's their First Amendment right. That's why.
Well, yeah, but when you mislead people into death, isn't that the same as manslaughter?
That's a good
I
feel
question.
like there's a lot of fine and blurred lines there.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're quite right on that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether intent. I mean, you get into a lot of iffy topics.
I actually like the fact that we convicted that couple. Did we not convict that couple where their child died of?
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about right there. Right?
Because that's what I'm saying.
Their intent was good. Their intent was good.
Yeah.
But all practical sense said, you idiot, go to the freaking doctor. Okay, you're telling people out there, oh no, you only need to believe. You don't need a doctor. Well, that in itself is criminal.
That's what, willful neglect?
Well, it would be, but in her, she would say that if she was to be prosecuted for that, she would say, you can't attack me for this because it is my sincerely held religious belief. And at that point, your whole intent thing falls, right?
I guess when your sincerely held belief runs into common sense of what keeps people alive, it's just at that point you know better. You can't starve somebody to death. You can't withhold food and water and
medical. That's right. And they're basically telling people, don't go to the medicine. Don't do that. Oh, that's bad. People are going to die, and people are dying. That's criminal.
It is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's enough of that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, guys. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our old friend David Fitzgerald. So stay with us.
Ooh, good.
Right on.
Hi, I'm the Supreme Irreverend Dr. Randy Tyson from the Legion of Reason Diversion. Join me and my co-hosts, Christine Shelska, Twyla, and Nate Phelps, as we explore issues at the intersection of atheism, humanism, and skepticism. Topics range from alternative medicine to the interference of religion in public policy. We often have special guests to help us understand the topic du jour. Previous guests include biologist Jerry Coyne, ex-Muslim author Ali Rizvi, philosopher Peter Boghossian, and the late physicist Victor Stanger. You can watch us on the Legion of Reason YouTube channel or subscribe to the audio version through your favorite podcatcher such as iTunes or Stitcher. And don't forget to like the Legion of Reason Facebook page.
Do you know where Saskatchewan is? Probably not. It's in Canada. If you do, you might know a city named Regina. In Regina, there's a studio. And in that studio, there are, at least once a month, a bunch of skeptical atheist geeks and goofballs who get together to do a podcast. We are the Brainstorm Crew, and we're trying to help spread a bit of reason and critical thinking while still having fun. Never taking things too seriously, but still not accepting everything we're told. We go through different topics, exploring them in depth, and often disagreeing. We try to stick to provable facts, and we never trust in myth. That's why we say we're woo-free since 2013. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spreaker under Brainstorm, or check out our website, brainstormblog.net. I can't promise you'll always agree with us, but I can promise you'll have fun listening to us.
Every night on television we see satire, we see comedy, we see people poking fun at politicians, at all sorts of things. Why should religion, especially the Muslim religion, why should that be immune from people making fun of it? Not that this is making fun of it, I understand, but even so, why should you think that Islam should be uniquely immune from the things that politicians are not immune from and the rest of us are not immune from. Why are you so privileged in taking offense?
All right, perfect.
Well, that got us all in the mood for something.
Well, I'm sweating now. I've been dancing away here.
This reminds me, actually, you know that she's right now needs people to give her 1,000 hours of airtime between now and like the next 12 days.
YouTube Red.
What? Who needs that?
I want everyone to say to meet you.
I'm here. You're being drawn by the music there, Dave.
I hear that.
He's a schnoodle, schnauzer, poodle.
Is this part of the show, or are we just having a pre...
I don't know. I thought this is on your end, isn't it?
Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought this whole time I thought it's been you guys. I'm thinking... I'm so sorry. I've got a show to do.
I got news for you. It's part of the show now.
Oh my god.
That's 5 minutes of the show gone right there. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay, I can't.
That's awesome.
You know what? I cannot guarantee I'm not gonna. I think I'm gonna leave this in there. This is just too brilliant.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Well, no, but Shelley Segal, they changed the rules on YouTube, so she needs like 1,000 viewer hours in the next 12 days.
What?
So that's why I've got her on repeat on my other on my laptop. But it was so funny. I'd forgotten that I had her on repeat, so I thought you guys were playing her. So.
No. We're just looking at each other and saying, "Okay, Dave is in a mood.
He's in a good mood today." Yeah.
Yeah, no, the heck with the interview. Just put the music back on and we'll all dance.
So much better. So much better.
Oh. Well, joining us on the line once again is one of our favorite guests, and he actually happened to be one of the top 10 shows of last year. He was in number 5 spot. It's our old friend David Fitzgerald. David, thank you so much for joining us yet again at Left of the Valley.
Hi, guys, and my co-host, Shelley Segal.
That was just absolutely brilliant. Oh, Dave.
Sorry about that.
Well, no. This is why you're one of our absolutely favorite guests.
Absolutely.
Always something new and different.
Always something new and different. Though, no joke, though, we all should be watching her on YouTube this week.
Okay, got it.
This weekend. She needs the clicks.
What's her name?
Shelley Segal.
Shelley Segal.
Yeah. SHELEY SEGAL. And if you've not heard her music, she's an atheist singer-songwriter, and they're all that good. She just blows me away.
I'm always looking for new atheists.
Why does she need 1,000 hours?
Say again?
What?
She needs 1,000 hours within the next 12 days of viewing time because they've changed the way they do advertising. I guess apparently.
So if she doesn't get that, she won't get the advertisements.
Exactly.
She'll get demonetized, is what they call it.
She'll get exactly. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Though she would be a great guest for your show.
Sounds like
you would love her.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'll look her up for sure. If you got a
she
contact,
definitely
please send it
sings
to me.
nice.
Yeah, you can find her on Facebook through me if you want to.
Fantastic. I will look her up. I will absolutely look her up.
But
anyway, Dave, you've been one of our favorite guests in the past, and but we always have new listeners. Would you be so kind maybe to give them a quick Reader's Digest version of who David Fitzgerald is?
Sure. My name's Dave Fitzgerald. I live in San Francisco, and I've been an atheist activist for a long time now, it's pushing 20 years or more. But I'm best known, I think, for a book I wrote in 2010 called Nailed, 10 Christian Myths That Show Jesus Never Existed at All.
What a fantastic book.
You rock.
Thank you, sir. And since then, I've written some other books, including a science fiction trilogy that's out now. The first book is out now.
Yes, and that's what we're going to be talking today.
This I've got to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. So you decide to, instead of doing the types of book that you've done in the past, which are about the historicity and mythicism, you decide to do something completely science fiction, and it's called Time Shards.
That's right.
So explain to us what Time Shards is.
Great. Well, the idea of the book, in a nutshell, there's a catastrophe that takes place in the 23rd century, and what it does is it shatters the timeline to the extent that when everything coalesces back together, like over here it's 1492, over there it's 5 million BC. You walk a little further, it's 1776. The characters are all from these different times. The main character is a girl from San Diego from 2015, and the other main character is a British Celt from the 1st century. And these two and this ragtag group of adventurers with them find out what's causing the event and how they are the ones who have to save the world, basically. So they're going through this post-apocalyptic landscape that's it's got all the best elements of a time travel story and a post-apocalyptic story. It's just a really fun...
This sounds interesting.
I have to read this book.
So
it's super fun.
There's nobody in there with a sonic screwdriver, right?
No sonic screwdrivers. Though Doctor Who would love this. It's so timey-wimey stuff.
That is the best kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's filled with that. And the reviews, I'm so stoked because the reviews have been off the hook for it.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
That was my
and
next
well deserved, I'm sure.
Now
Thank you.
You just released this. This happened like very recently, right?
Very recently. It's not even 2 weeks, I don't think.
2 weeks. Okay, so it's brand new, and the reviews are very good so far.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Now, what prompted you? Because we know you from your previous work, obviously, which we just adore. Well, what prompted you to do science fiction all of a sudden?
It's very funny. A couple years ago, my wife Dana and I were driving back from Comic-Con, and we were just talking about random things, and I was telling her about this idea I had for a role-playing game in college, and it was Time Shards, and she said she got chills as I was telling her that, and she said, "Oh, Dave, we've got to turn this into a book." And so as soon as we got home, we pitched it to her agent at Titan, and they snapped it right up, and now we've got to crank out 2 more books in the series before too long, because the response to the first one has been really exciting.
Oh, and your wife is an author as well?
She is an author as well. In fact, we co-wrote this book together.
Oh, perfect. Fantastic.
She's written other science fiction or more urban fantasy sort of things for this company, Titan UK.
Okay.
She's written a zombie apocalypse trilogy. It's sort of been called Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets The Walking Dead. It's called Plague Town, Plague Nation, Plague World. That's those 3 titles of that. And she also started a new trilogy called Lilith, or Spawn of Lilith, rather. That's an interesting character. They've got she's a Hollywood stunt woman who actually finds out that she is a descendant of Lilith, the Old Testament figure.
The Old Testament. Oh, really? Oh, I'm intrigued all of a sudden with that one too.
So, David, when you wrote the book, did you have a series in mind, or as you wrote it, you realized there were so many stories that you could tell with these characters, it just sort of morphed into a series?
Well, we definitely had a story arc for the trilogy, of where it's going to start and where it's going to end. But there was such a wild card of what can happen in between that it's been growing bigger and bigger as it comes closer to becoming a full blown trilogy.
Now I'm just gonna make a sidebar here on the same question that Nancy was asking, because I'm curious about is for example, if you take the example of Star Wars, right? The first movie, Star Wars, came out as a movie on its own. But it was so popular that it developed into a whole universe. Is that what you think is happening with your book? Or
no, not at all. Not at all. We knew right from the get-go this was going to be a trilogy, and we knew it was going to end at this one point, and book 2 is going to end at another point, and the book 1 and book 2 and book 3, they all start the second that the previous book ends. So it's one big long story.
Oh wow! Okay, so not even a time gap or anything like that. It just jumps into it.
Yeah. Ha ha ha! You said time gap.
So are you enjoying the writing style that it takes to do the fiction as much as you have with the nonfiction, or is this a totally different experience for you?
Well, you know what's crazy ironic about it is normally I like switching back and forth between fiction and nonfiction because they both have their different pros and cons.
Yeah.
Fiction I love because it's research heavy, nonfiction I love because it's research heavy. Fiction I love is because you can make everything up and not have to worry about whether it's true or not. But this book sort of had the worst of both worlds. It's like, okay, you have to make everything up, and you have to do it using rules, as much historical research as you do for a history. So I've got just as many books floating around the living room right now as I did when I was working on the Jesus Mything in Action books. They're just different books now, but the piles of books are still just as high.
Well, I'd like to point out that you haven't written any non-fiction work because your previous books were about Jesus, right?
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Oh, he's full of it today.
Yeah.
So how does an quote-unquote amateur historian decide to talk about books about time travel and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, as much as I hate calling myself a historian, I am a historian. I mean, I have a degree in history, and history is my jam.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I don't like to tout myself as a historian because, I'm not in academia, the fact is I still think like a historian and do work like a historian. And as my wife says, it is my jam. Yeah.
The woman behind the
man. No, let's tell the truth. You just keep writing so that you can come on the air with us. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
He's got his fan base right here.
I can't quit you.
Okay, so can you give us maybe a brief idea of what the book is going to be like? I mean, you've talked to basically you got two main characters, and what happens to them?
Yeah, well, the book starts out.
Without giving us too much, because you want people to go out there and buy.
No spoilers, please.
There's a couple little paragraphs saying that, imagine time as a physical thing, like a stained glass window that containing every moment from the beginning of time to the end of the universe. And now imagine if that shatters and then comes back together again. And that analogy kind of echoes what a character says later on in the book. And in the first couple of chapters, we see that happening. We see it bounces around in time and places on Earth just before what we call the event happens. And we see the impact it is on all these people, including our main characters. And then they find themselves, one finds themselves in the middle of the Pleistocene era, and the other one finds himself, well, I don't want to give away too much, but basically they are crossing this post-apocalyptic landscape that's made up of pieces of the past. So one of our characters is basically going through the Ice Age. Another one is going through, prehistory, British prehistory, and trying to find out what happened. None of them has any idea what just happened. They just realize that something has gone dreadfully, dreadfully wrong with the universe. But as they keep running into people, they start putting the puzzles together. And once they meet one character who may have the answers to what caused it, things get really, really interesting. There's lots of different time travel tropes involved, but there's also, they run across some things that, okay, where's this coming from? I don't remember this from our history books. It gets very weird very quick.
I like it.
Yeah, it's an exciting book.
Yeah, so the reader can get into some interesting historical periods that they might want to look up. After the book is already read, which is kind of nice too.
Yeah, I would, as a history buff, I would totally love that if that happened, because I certainly had to really dig it deep into history to make the story happen. Even if not everything makes its way into the story. Generally, the things I write, there's like an iceberg of stuff that doesn't make it into the story, but you have to know this much to put this much on the paper, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Even if the readers don't always see it.
No, it's lovely to be able to use your love of history in a totally different way, and as we say, just spark some interest, from readers that may not have liked history when they were in school, but in your format, it just brings a whole other dimension to what they might want to do some further reading on, which is great.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fabulous too, and that's my hope for it too, because history is fascinating, and it's especially when you can get in the heads of people who don't think the way we do. They don't have the same presuppositions. They don't realize the world works in the same way we do. And they do some things better than we do, in some ways they're more in touch with nature and how to survive nitty gritty. And it's really fun to just throw all these people from all these different times in the same room, literally, and have them talk it out and work together to make, to go on this mission to save the world.
Mm-hmm. Now, David, your primary audience, maybe not for this book, but the people that know you most are an audience of skeptics and atheists and all that. And you know how critical they can get of things that pertain to science.
What?
So in your books, because I'm assuming that the first ones are gonna the first people that are gonna buy your books are the people that have been like ourselves that have been following you for a while. So how detailed did you go, and how faithful were you to the science? I mean, for example, we're all speaking English right now, but if all of us were transported in 1681. The English would be we wouldn't be able to actually communicate with these people. Not that they don't have the same English. How detailed did you go in your book on things like that?
When I'm not being a history buff, I'm being a linguistics buff. So, there are two main characters for all of book one, almost all of book. No, it's all of book one. They don't speak this. They don't have any language in common except a smattering of Latin. We definitely do get into the language bit and all the repercussions of that. And it has been super fun.
Absolutely, and of course, if you got one of your characters that's pushing to the Pleistocene era, all of a sudden you have to think of different oxygen levels and stuff like that, and how it would actually impact them.
It was funny. We had to really pick and choose. Okay, which laws of physics are we going to obey, and which laws of physics are we going to throw out the window?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it's that would make a fun little article on why A, this could never possibly happen in real life, and B, how we made it work anyway.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm thinking the Pleistocene period was like 24% oxygen, wasn't it?
Yeah, no,
it was some high amount.
It was high. It was higher than what we have now. That's for sure. Here's
one thing. I mean, these are all great questions to ask, but one thing to keep in mind: it's not that the times. What am I trying to say? It's not like you go across a boundary and all of a sudden you're in the Pleistocene era. It's the Pleistocene era. This chunk of the Pleistocene era has come and landed on the planet now. So we have all these things are working together and but in piecemeal. So
that does send chills down my spine thinking about it.
Yeah. So in a way, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong here. The character is not traveling in time; it's time itself that moves in a different.
Yeah, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Kind of thing. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That sounds incredibly interesting.
Are you going on a book tour to various places like Vancouver?
This is no joke. If you look at my Facebook page, the first public sighting of a book in a bookstore is from Vancouver, BC.
There we go.
Wicked.
It's still on my cover page of on Facebook.
Well, pack your bags and come on up here.
No joke.
Yeah.
Let's talk after the
Dave
show.
comes up here. We'll have to do a show live with him in studio. That'd be absolutely awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Dave, of course, being a guy that's scientifically minded and all that, do you feel that science is constantly changing in some ways, our understanding of it anyway? Do you feel that this might impact your book as the way it ages?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, anytime you put down anything on paper, you're in danger of some story showing up the next day and making everything wrong, different. I mean, Jurassic Park, here's a perfect example. We all love Jurassic Park, and yet since the movie first came out, we know that velociraptors had feathers. We know that dinosaurs, T-Rexes, had feathers, and that's something we still are that trope is still being shaken.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep up with the tropes as best we could, and the history as best we could. The opinion on the significance of a person or an event that changes through the course of history too. So it's as they say, history is going to change. It always does. And we do try to keep up with that. Yes.
So David Fitzgerald can we say now David Fitzgerald is going to be a full-time writer? Is this something that you just had a bite of it, or is it a one-time shot, or is it something you're going to pursue?
Honestly, I've been a full-time writer for 10 years now, and that's not going to change anytime soon. If anything, it's going to get worse.
So it could be the next Ray Redburn.
Or better. I mean, it's...
better. I meant as far as a life commitment. But I had to stop doing erotica when I came out with the book Nailed, and I've got to get these 2 books out before I can get the next book in the Complete Heretics Guide series out, the Sex and Violence in the Bible book, and I'm still dying to do that book.
Oh, tell me you're cooperating with Daryl Ray for this.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Love that man.
Of course. Daryl's absolutely awesome.
Sounds like you've got your future planned for quite a while.
Yeah.
It does. It really does. And the worst thing about being an author is you feel like you are on the clock 24/7. And as long as those books are not out yet, it's like tick-tock, Dave, get going.
Fantastic. And like you said, Nancy asked if you were projecting a book tour, and at this point, there really hasn't been one, right?
No, that's not true, actually. We started it in San Diego for the premiere, and then we had a premiere launch here in San Francisco. So there is a book tour of sorts, just kind of piecemeal.
Okay.
We live in the era where authors pretty much have to do this on their own until they get to Stephen King level, and then the book tours take over.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, everybody else has to make their own. So, yeah, having somebody, like, say, come to Vancouver, that's actually the first start in making something like that happen.
Fantastic. Perfect.
I would love it.
Anything else your fans and your potential readers need to know about the book?
It's available on the internet, but if you can buy it from your local independent bookstore, that would be a joy to me, because we need it to support our independent bookstores. Ask your library if they carry it. It's a super fun book. I can't tell you how heartened I am to get the reviews back from people I don't know and have never heard of, and who just love the book and the characters, and how fun it is.
Are you going to record? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. I'll ask after you get through.
Oh no! If you're going to ask about the audiobook, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't talk about that yet, but we can't.
Well, it's probably he's probably going to collaborate with.
Stay tuned. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
wink,
yeah.
Wink.
I'm assuming you'll collaborate with your old friend David Smalley. I'm assuming on this. You can't say it. Okay, you can't say it.
This is a different publishing altogether, for one thing, I should say.
Okay.
So,
okay, we'll pretend we didn't ask the question.
We didn't ask the question.
Yeah.
So
it's all up in post, right?
So as part, of course, the next 2 Time Shards will be out fairly soon, I'm assuming? Well, when do you project them to be out?
Book 2 will be out by the end of this year. Probably this time next year.
Okay.
Out in January of what year is this?
2018.
And then 2020 will be the third book.
Fantastic, fantastic. And of course, they can always email you personally if they want to get an autographed copy.
Absolutely. Well, it's tricky because these aren't self-published, so we have to get them from the publisher. So actually, what I can do is get a book plate autographed to you. So that, in that sense, yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
But you need to buy the book. You need to buy the book, and then I can get you a book plate.
So how about I buy the book and then send it to you, and you can autograph it and send it back to me?
That would also work.
Perfect. Excellent. David, aside the purely science fiction there, what other projects are you working on?
Honestly, this one is pretty much taken over our life. Dana's also working on book 2 in the Lilith trilogy. Or whatever trilogy it's going to wind up being, the septilogy, and actually Dana has just gotten a hip replacement surgery and has the other one scheduled for March 5th. And between those two facts, that's keeping our life pretty busy right now.
Yeah,
well, I hope she's comfortable. Give her our best.
Well, it's because she keeps kicking Dave, right? Eventually it takes a toll on your hip, and now she keeps kicking him.
Did you hear that? That's why she needs the hip replacement. Yeah.
Dave, I'll have to say I'm really, really curious about the book, and frankly, I don't like novels, but I'm really, really curious about this, and I really actually want to go and buy this, and I hope everybody else does. If anybody else wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you, Dave?
Best way to do it is probably on Facebook. You can always email me at everybodylovesdave@gmail.com.
That's totally true.
And again, I'm very excited to see what you guys think about the book, because we are super proud of it, and yeah, we're jazzed to see the rest of the book trilogy come out.
Well, I'm glad you and your wife had this wonderful idea as you were driving in the car, and you got home and said, "Yeah, we can do this," and here we are.
A great idea came out of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And it was just that easy too.
Oh, Dave, that was a. Thank you so much for helping us with this today. We certainly appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck out there in getting those books. But before we let you go, I gotta have you say, "Hi, I'm David Fitzgerald, and I took a left at the valley."
Hi, I'm Dave Fitzgerald, and I took a left at the valley. How's that?
And that was David Fitzgerald.
I think he's my hero now.
Really,
absolutely.
Really, I just adore him because
David is just awesome.
It's just like sitting at the kitchen table and talking to one of your buddies that you've known forever and ever. It just flows back and forth so nicely.
Absolutely,
he's great.
And you know, he I don't know, he inspires me to do a lot of things. I mean, like I said, you know, I never was a fan of novels, but you know, I'm really going to go and get this one, and it's been a long time since I read a novel.
Well, there's a difference because he combines historical events, he combines the scientific, he puts in characters that are believable. So for you, it's a no-brainer fiction because it combines all the things you like already. It's in a fiction form.
Exactly. So we're just gonna have a blast reading that, and I certainly also highly recommend his previous book, Jesus Smith in Action, and Nailed. They're just fantastic books.
Yeah,
David Fitzgerald is awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show, guys. It was a great show as per usual. You can find us on leftofthevalley.com. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, at LETV Podcast. Send us an email at leftatvalley@outlook.com. Send your complaints to Nancy on the third level.
Yeah, but if you have a complaint, put it to music, because today we started a whole new tradition.
Preferably Barbra Streisand.
Barbra Streisand would be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the Bee Gees. I'm good with the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees are okay.
A love song. Send Nancy a love song on the third.
Oh, please do.
And you can always follow also a little sister show. So You Think You're a Skeptic by our friend Tyler. He's doing this on Facebook on Sundays or Mondays. Depends on the time. All right. Coming up. Next week we'll have our old friend Luke Fevrin that's coming back. And we'll be talking about religion inserting itself into schools. Now, we were supposed to do a show on the 25th about the LGBT. We were supposed to do it live at the stage. Unfortunately, the stage decided to withdraw because they're doing renovations. So we're still going to be doing a podcast with Dr. Del Rey and Veronica Drance. It's just going to be a regular show. There's not going to be a live audience. I'm sorry about that, guys.
Well, that's okay. They'll get to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On the in March, we'll be talking to Rebecca Fox. She's an atheist cartoonist and all that. We'll be talking about her cartoon. On the 10th, we'll be talking to Ira Pastor about biomimicry.
Biomimicry.
And on the 17th, we have our old friend Christopher DiCarlo is coming back on the show, and he'll be talking about how he was actually refused tenure twice at the university because he's an atheist. And on the 24th, we have a podcaster, Robert Stanley, of the podcast... where is it? The Right to Reason podcast. He'll be coming on the show as well.
Yes.
Exactly. So you can follow his show as well.
We always have so much good stuff to look forward to, don't we? Yeah.
A lot of great guests. And we've got more things to be working on. And, we're coming on the show, the show's anniversary as well. So.
Oh, yeah.
We've been doing this for a couple of years now. Anything else we need to say before we go?
I was going to say this before the interview, and now it's just really funny. I was going to say, go watch Doctor Who.
Doctor Who is so cool.
Instead of Harry Potter? Okay, I'll take it.
Well, no, I would like to see a Doctor Who meets Harry Potter show.
Oh, God.
There's fanfics about that. Ask Christina.
Very cool. Time-traveling wizards.
Have you seen the latest Christmas special?
For
Doctor Who.
No, I don't have television.
Neither do we.
This just became the Doctor Who special show, man. You guys can talk about this off air. Thank you, guys. Until next time.
But you can mute us, Kevin. You have the power.
I do.
I find it disgraceful that many atheists are told to be quiet. You're not alone. Speak your mind. Time to let it be known. I'm proud to be an atheist, a skeptic, a non-believer, an infidel, a heathen. I call it how I see it. I say it's ignorance and you just call it faith and unsubstantiated claims. That's something to be ashamed. I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist.